At ease, pilots. My name is Lieutenant Commander Mr. Everything. This is your fourth flight school block of instruction, map basics, waypoints, and quantum travel. Okay, in this block of instruction, we're going to go ahead and start inside the Sabre. If I need to, in post-production, provide you with indicators on the screen letting you know what I am talking about or where I am talking about it, I will add those in post-production. As of right now, you have already attended 3 blocks of instruction, one being knowing your cockpit, learning your HUD and MFDs. You also learned how to take off and land your Sabre, and in the third block of instruction, you learned about the 6 degrees of basic flight. Now we're going to talk about something a little bit more complicated, and that is navigation and quantum travel. Now, one of the things you'll want to notice is on your HUD, you actually have a azimuth, a bearing based on North Pole of the planet. So we could actually tell someone northwest or 310 degrees, or we could go north, right? So that would be north. Or if we continue, it would be 5 degrees or 10 degrees. We also have a ladder showing altitude angles like 5 degrees, 10 degrees, plus 5 degrees, etc., using your ladder. Those are helpful when engaging bogies. You can alert your wingman north 3,000 meters or something, and he will know where north is. You can say, you can use clock azimuth like 12 o'clock or 6 o'clock, but if you are both not flying in the same direction, because maybe you're both dogfighting, then giving a clock facing is not going to help, because you're constantly turning, he's constantly turning. But we'll get into that in another training session. But in this training session, we're talking about the map and waypoints. Okay, so the best way to pull up the map is by pressing F2, Foxtrot 2 on your keyboard. That'll pull up a map in your mobiGlas. Now let's go ahead and close our mobiGlas. I just pressed F1. You can press either F2 to bring it up and F2 to close it, however you want to do it. But if you press F1 to bring up your mobiGlas, you can, down here in the menu bar, you can find what's called Skyline. Skyline is the same map. You press the map, it brings up your map. Let's press F1 and close everything. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and press F2. Brings up your map. Okay. Depending on what solar system you are currently located in, will pull up its sun and planets, asteroid belts, space station locations. Anything that's on the galactic map should be pulled up. In the upper left-hand corner, you're going to see your current fuel. You're going to see the required fuel once you set a waypoint. Hopefully it is less than your current fuel, because if not, you will not be able to make it there. Plus, you'll have a bunch of buttons in the top that show set route, clear route, etc. So let's we are currently on Orison, which is located on Crusader. We know this. If we wanted to go to like Hurston L3, we would click it. Now L stands for Lagrange point, and every major body in space has Lagrange points. Basically, there are three on the same, there's five actually. So Crusader L5 is there, Crusader L4 is there, and Crusader L3 would be there. So that there is a 1 and 2, but those are usually located super close to the actual body. Every planet has those. Microtech L1. But if you notice, I don't see a Microtech L4 or L5. I don't see that. But ArcCore. Let's find the planet ArcCore. You got a 1 and a 2, right? They're the ones close to, there's one inner, there's one outer. Then there's 4 and 5 are here, and then all the way on the opposite side is 3. Same thing with Hurston, 1 and 2, and then 4 and 5, and then 3. That's the way Lagrange points work with all planets and all solar systems. Okay, so let's take a look at Hurston L3. I have clicked it. It brought up a little bit of information up here about Hurston. It tells me how far away it is. But if I was to set route, it would appear over here that to be able to get there, to be able to jump there, I would have to jump to an orbital marker first, and it would use this much fuel, and then I would need to jump from there to Hurston L3. The reason why that might be is because maybe the planet's in the way. Maybe there's some astronomical body in the way that I have to jump around. That's why there's an orbital marker. Orbital markers, there should be 6 around every planet so that you can now circumnavigate those planets or moons. And then the jump there is going to take 50.31, which is a total of 50.37, which means we have enough fuel to make that jump. I can clear the route. Everything's disappeared. If I double click a planet, it'll bring me to the planetary's solar system or planetary system. So we're located here, which you can see, and I'm using the mouse wheel to wheel in and out. We are located at that bright circle. There is an orbital station around this planet and a comm array. The comm array is in low orbit and the Port Olisar is in a higher orbit. But you can click on that and you can set that as, and then it'll tell you about Port Olisar and what's there and things like that. And then I could set a route. Now in this case, it wants me to go to orbital marker 5 first before I go to Port Olisar. Okay, I'm going to do this. So we've already set the route. We've got 2 out of 2 waypoints that we need to go to. So I'm going to hit F1 to go back to my cockpit, close my Mobi-Glass. Now, if you look at my radar indicator right there, it tells me which direction my first waypoint is located. Okay, so I'm going to nose up because I don't want to hit any of the buildings or anything. I'm going to put it in cruise control by pressing C. I'm still going super slow. But I'm going to angle towards that orbital marker. Now I'm turning. You can see based on the lights of the city around me that I am turning. Okay, let's stop the turn. In the upper right-hand corner of my screen, up there, you see a blue triangle. That blue, I'm still in cruise control, so I'm still flying forward. That blue triangle turns into the diamond, which tells me that's the direction. And if you also notice, my radar now is pointing directly forward. It's directly forward. If I press B, which will change my flight to, or it'll start powering on my quantum drive, B, you can see above the quantum circle, it says quantum drive spooling, gave you a percentage, and then now it says spooling complete. I cannot, I'll point at the OM5, which isn't that far away, but you can't quantum through an atmosphere. So it's giving me a flashing red warning saying exit the atmosphere. Okay, so I will angle up. I'm still under flight control of the ship. I'm going to angle up about 75 to 80 degrees. I'm going to raise my limiter to as high as it'll go, and I will let my ship thrust. Away from the city. Got my thrust going. Now, for safety reasons, I am going to put on my helmet. Now, if you look at my altitude, I'm at 150,000. And based on this planet, 150,000 is the atmosphere limit. So we are currently out of the atmosphere. I'm going to lower my current velocity because once I jump, I don't want to exit a jump going super fast. So I'm going to nose down to my waypoint, which is, if you look at the waypoint, it says that it's at 7,624 kilometers away. But more importantly, underneath that, it says it's the first of 2 waypoints that I have set. Next to that, it tells me where I'm going and how much of my quantum fuel it's going to use. Super. On the left side, you see what's called calibration. If you're not facing where you want to go, your calibration will be 0. Depending on the quantum drive you're using, some will calibrate faster than others. But once you are facing it, the closer you are to actually facing it will speed up the calibration. Once the calibration gets to 100%, it'll switch to ready, and you can press and hold the B key, and it will enter quantum. Okay, before I jump, quantum has 3 stages. It has the speed up stage, which is very far, thousands of kilometers, of gradual increase of speed, and then it travels at full speed or cruise speed of your quantum travel. And then when you get close to your destination, about 5 million kilometers, it switches to a slowdown. And then when you get close enough, it just drops you out. So the last 5 million kilometers, which we'll experiment with here in a moment, is a slowdown period, and you will notice this. Okay, so let's go to F4, an external view. And we got the planet beneath us. And let's go. Do I have my headlights on? Yeah, let's turn the headlights off. Okay, let's press B and hold. I should be at, an OM. So now if you notice, my navigational radar here tells me that I need to turn and dip. So I roll a little bit, and I need to turn to get that green line to my front, which that box there showed me that it was a point of interest. And it is the second of 2 waypoints. Press and hold B. Speed up. Cruise. It should automatically be in slowdown because it started within 5 million. Now we're not really going to Port Olisar. Okay, now if you notice, my quantum drive is still spooled. It's still going. So you press B again, turns it off. Okay, so let's turn off cruise, slow down, follow along. F2 brings up a map. I can use the mouse wheel to wheel in and wheel out. I can hold the left mouse to rotate the system's plane around. I can use the right mouse to move it left and right. This is important if it's a very large system. We're going to jump to Hurston L3, so I'm going to double-click it. The reason why I double-clicked it was to zoom in. We're going to Thundering Express Station. Let's clear route. This should bring me back to the main map. Let's go back. I got to zoom. Now I'm zoomed in too far, so I'm going to zoom out to Hurston L3. I'm only going to click it once. Oh, I'm already selected. Set route. Hurston L3, 50. F2 gets me out of this menu. You can see the green line. That's the target right there. But now I'm going to press B to go to quantum. I'm going to get away from it. B, you can see my quantum is spooling. Takes a second. And then I'm going to point at my destination. It starts spooling. Now we're at 6 million kilometers. So let's go ahead and jump. This is the speed up process. We're now at cruise. Now let's just wait. It should go to a cool down period. Or a speed down? No, a slow down period. You can watch your quantum fuel on the right of your HUD should slowly start to go down. Another thing you can do is while you're in quantum, you can pull up your map, you can zoom in, and it should show you approximately where you are in your journey. So we're there. And you can see how this line is starting to get slower. If I wanted to exit quantum right now, because I'm close to crew L1, I could just hit my quantum drive, turn my quantum drive off, and I would jump right out of quantum. All right, now it's hard to navigate when you don't know where you're going. So you can spool your quantum drive, and then you'll notice all of these possible jump locations appear on your screen. But as you know, we were heading to this one. Now, the first jump only brought us to Hurston L3 asteroid field. The second jump takes us into 25 kilometers of our destination, but now we are too close to jump. And now I can turn this off, knowing pretty much which direction I'm going. Or I can turn it on if I get lost. I'm trying to figure out like where I'm going and how far away it is and stuff like that. I can tell my team, you know, it's at 235 degrees or 237. No, I guess it would be 233. Let's slow down because we're getting close. All right, now a little bit more about navigating. What we're going to do is we're going to turn around. We're going to go back to Crusader. Which, if you noticed, was a circle being a planet, and then there is a diamond, which is a point of interest like Crusader L1. Let's go back to Crusader. All right, so we're back to Crusader. Now, I've got my quantum drive spooled, but when you look around, you're going to see like orbital markers. You're going to see the actual planet is too close. You're going to look around for other icons. If you see a home plate from like baseball, Okay, let's take a look away from that one. There, you can now see it is a home plate icon. That is a city. And in this case, it is Orison. So let's go ahead and go to the home plate icon. And let's jump to Orison. We're jumping into the planet, or into the atmosphere, which is an exception to being able to jump out of the atmosphere. You have to be completely out to make a jump. But if you're outside, you can jump into the atmosphere. It will stop you when you get within 25 kilometers. It turns us, and it spline jumps us around the planet until we get to a point where we can angle inward and then jump. See, we are spline jumping around the planet. Then it will angle us into the atmosphere. Okay, it looked like we were at 75 kilometers. Maybe that's an exception for this thick atmosphere. Okay, Orison, 76.1. I'm using my quantum drive spooled to just let me know where that waypoint is located. We're now flying in through the atmosphere. We're at 50. Now in a case like this, because you're traveling at full speed, when you get to about 30 kilometers, I would recommend slowing down, because remember, in our last video, I explained how you slow down slowly in a Sabre. All ships, especially the big ships, capital ships, stuff like that. The weight prevents them from slowing down. "20 kilometers. Here we go.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay."
There it is. So I'm using the assigned landing bay as navigation. I'm using the lights as let's not run into anything. That must be the landing spaceport. It looks like my landing bay might be underneath. And turn my lights on. Might help. Gear down.
complete.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
And that's how you use the star map. That's how you navigate with quantum, and using your quantum drive as a waypoint generator. Basically, you can view the various waypoints. And that's the end of the training session. The next one will be on atmospheric flight. Dismissed.